The FBI recently said that they're going to be ramping up the number of domestic terrorism cases that they're investigating here in the United States. And in fact, they've already been doing that pretty much ever since the Capitol riot. The number of open domestic terrorism cases at the FBI is the highest it's ever been in 5 years. And in fact, following the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021, the number of open domestic terrorism cases in the U.S. has doubled. At this point, every single FBI field office, all 56 of them, have open domestic terrorism cases, and they say that 70% of them are investigating anti-government zealots. And we all know which side of the political aisle most of the anti-government dangerous people in this country seem to fall on, and it's usually on the right. Not saying all of them are, but most of the cases we have seen of that, as far as I've seen, are on the right. So basically, the FBI says we're putting more resources into this. We're going after these violent right-wing extremists, especially following January 6th. We are going to start taking threats against the government and threats against government workers seriously. And part of this comes from Merrick Garland's decision, actually earlier this year, to increase the investigations and prosecutions into anyone who threatens election workers here in the United States. Right? That was a very big thing following the 2020 election. It was a big thing that was happening throughout the summer and the fall leading up to the midterms. It is literally still happening in this country today. And all of that, by the way, is coming from violent right-wing MAGA extremists. So it's good that the FBI is finally focusing on this very serious crime. But there's a problem. In doing this, in order to divert those resources to going after these extremists, they've had to divert resources from other, investigations. And they were able to do that by reclassifying certain things as no longer falling under the umbrella of domestic terrorism, specifically anti-Black crimes and crimes against the LGBTQ community. Both of which, for the record, are also on the rise. And those are somehow, for some reason, no longer being treated as domestic terrorism. Even when you have a gunman walk into a LGBTQ nightclub and open fire. Nope, that's not domestic terrorism. That's just a good old-fashioned hate crime. Even when you have a gunman walk into a, predominantly Black grocery store and start shooting everybody. Nope, not domestic terrorism. That's just a good old-fashioned hate crime by a racist son of a bitch, right? I like that they're going more after these domestic terrorists, but we have to understand anyone in this country that goes out and commits these devastating acts of violence against large groups of people based on who those people are, based on what they look like, based on sexual orientation, based on religion, which we've also seen, all of that, that's not just a hate crime, it is terrorism. They need their funding increased so that they can go after all of these groups with equal gusto, so that we can examine these potential threats when they are posted online. Switching some crimes over to carry a smaller penalty, which is basically what's happening, which downgrades them in level of severity for which the agency is going to investigate, that doesn't help anybody. It just makes those marginalized people even more marginalized because you don't consider them worthy enough of when they're killed in large numbers for it to be considered terrorism. That's not helping anything. So the FBI needs more money, more resources, more agents, more lawyers, most importantly, so that they don't have to downplay these other attacks in order to focus more on the right-wing terrorism. It's all one and the same, and the agency needs to treat it as such. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos,
So do us a favor and subscribe.